Think I'm showing up too. Sweet. Okay, we're going to talk about the future of internet marketing and the new digital economy. I have good news for you. And before we get started, on April 6th, I'm going to possibly make a fool of myself, but potentially do something cool. Here's the deal. I'm going to go into a new market where nobody knows me, no brand recognition, no list, no help from any friends, with nothing but a computer and the old noggin here, an idea, and the skills I've learned along the way. And I'm going to attempt to do three things. Number one, build a brand. Number two, build a list. And number three, get some customers. If you would like to watch that process unfold, go to letsgetsomesales.com. If someone would put that in the comments for me, I would appreciate it. Now, let's get cracking. This view on my screen is profoundly unimpressive. There we go. Okay, I have some good stuff for you. So first of all, I'm assuming you guys can hear me okay. I think you can. Hard to tell because of the lag between this. I'm using an app called StreamYard, double stream to Facebook and YouTube right now. Is currently 8:34 p.m. on the 1st of April. And I'm here on the East Coast. Okay, let's get started. All right, so the name of this, oh man, it's got the backwards dang, got the dang slideshow backwards. Let's see, hang on, I bet I can fix it, maybe. Let's see here. Let's check this out. Stop screen. Okay, can they do it, ladies and gentlemen? Share screen. All right, let's see here. I'll share screen too. How about that? Kablam. Okay, now let's see if this works. Look at there. Okay, cool. So the future of internet marketing is what we're going to talk about. Everything is, in my opinion, going to shift pretty dramatically, and it already is. So let's go back a couple weeks, how things began. I'm going to have to keep looking off camera here to the other monitor to see what you're seeing, or at least what I hope you're seeing anyway. So a couple weeks ago, there were some predictions made by eMarketer and Business Insider Intelligence, and they published this article. And in the article, they made some predictions, and I'll run through them really, really quickly because you might have already seen this. So number one, they said, hey, social networks, major beneficiary, everyone's going to be at home. They're all going to be on social media, which to people like us who reach our audiences and sell our stuff primarily through social media ads, that was kind of a silver lining, you know. Then they also went on to predict that the spread of the coronavirus was likely to boost the consumption of digital media, meaning more people are going to be consuming more content, which is pretty good considering if content is done properly, it can really, really help you sell things. You know, I mean, the magic formula that I've always preached is goodwill plus offers times frequency equals revenue. And we do that by putting out good content that makes offers. So they made that prediction. They also made this prediction, which was e-commerce is likely to grow as people quit going to stores and stuff. They said it fancier than that, as you can see on the slide, but that was another one of their predictions. And they also said that global media ad spending was likely to go down. And they said it was probably mainly going to be in China. Well, what happened? Okay, so that was, I think, published on the 14th or something of March. So here we are, almost exactly 2 weeks later on April 1st, as I record this for you. Well, I'm doing it live right now, but if you watch it after the fact, you get it. Okay, so here's where we are now, the digital economy as we see it. So number one, the digital economy is strong. Okay, so according to Statista, I have to look off screen to see the other monitor where the slides are actually showing. Between February and March 2020, online sales in Italy grew significantly compared to the same period last year. Not really a surprise because everybody's stuck at home. But what is significant is this is the country that is unfortunately been hardest hit by this whole situation. And their online sales are up. Same thing in Brazil. In Brazil, I kind of chose at random because I just happened to find it during the research, but here's an interesting statistic out of Brazil. The first thing that comes to mind when you say, okay, digital commerce and digital, people are going to be buying more stuff online, is we think, well, yeah, they're going to be buying like toilet paper and, hand sanitizer and bottled water and all that kind of stuff, which makes sense, and they did. But if you look closely at what Statista is saying, and I believe Statista because that's all they do is compile data, it says over here, in the first 15 days of March 2020, overall e-commerce sales in Brazil increased by 40%. Then they go on to say health-related stuff increased by 120%, which means that 40% increase, that was everything else, like regular stuff, So all pointing towards, yep, more people are spending more money online. 50%, and this is a different website where I got this from. I think it was New York Times, I can't remember. 50% of Chinese and 31% of Italian consumers say they're using e-commerce more frequently, which again is not really a surprise, but it is nice to see what we assume to be the case actually validated through research. Okay, so that was published a little while ago. Here's something more recently published by Digital Commerce 360. All right, it goes on to say, and I just took a screenshot from an article. It goes on to say e-commerce spending is up more than 40% year over year since President Trump declared a state of national emergency on March 13th, according to an analysis of spending trends at 850 retail sites by digital marketing vendor Listrak. And then it goes on to say, however, not all categories benefited from the emergency. And that's true. And so we'll address that in a minute. But let's take a deeper dive here, okay? Because Listrak and Digital Commerce 360 aren't the only people reporting on this. Have a look at this. There is a pretty big agency called Mute6. They handle, I think, around $500 million a year in ad spend across like all kinds of different verticals. And they're publishing sort of weekly real-time updates in terms of what they're seeing across all verticals in terms of what people are buying and ad costs and everything. So remember that prediction that ad costs are going to go down? Well, if you look at this thing, and I can't get my mouse on it, sweet. If you look at this little graph here, this is taken from something that they published on the 26th of March. If we go back about a month to February 27th, the CPMs, which stands for cost per thousand impressions, that's how you spend money on ads, whether you're buying on Facebook or Google AdWords or YouTube ads or whatever, you're essentially paying for every time your ad is shown 1,000 times, and you do it at auction, right? And so that kind of happens behind the scenes, but that's how it all works. So back in February 27th, it was about $10.44 to show your ad, typically on average to 1,000 people. If you go back now to the last snapshot here in this little graph, which was March 26th, it's down to $6. So it's down like 40%. And everybody I know is seeing the same thing across all kinds of verticals. So all people that I know who are running ads, who either own agencies or are spending a lot of money on their own promotions, myself included, are like, oh my gosh, the costs of ads are like, it's like 2015 all over again, So that's pretty good. The other side of the coin is that, hey, consumer spending is in fact up. So again, this is Mute6 gathering data from, I would assume, all of the clients that they represent and they run ads for. And this is conversion rates. This is what this yellow bar here on the graph is indicating. This is conversion rates over spend. So you can see conversion rates across all verticals have just started increasing, which is not a surprise because people are spending more money online. Again, it's just nice to see our hunches validated through research, So now we move on, even in non-essentials, right? So it's easy to be like, well, yeah, people are buying toilet paper, bottled waters, and hand sanitizers, and canned food or whatever. But even like totally random stuff such as beauty and skincare. As a matter of fact, look at the spike in sales and conversion rates that happened in beauty and skincare during this little snapshot, which was essentially last week, because I'm shooting this for you on April 1st right now. Also, home goods showed a big spike, right? Which is pretty good. Again, non-essential, but I guess you're stuck at home. Maybe you need a new rolling pin or something. I don't know. Some verticals did take a hit though, right? So we saw stuff go down in the apparel industry. We saw stuff go way down in the luxury apparel industry, which kind of makes sense because we're stuck at home. Like, so what are we going to get dressed up and go do? You know what I mean? It's like, let me buy a new suit so I can watch, Tiger King on Netflix. You know what I mean? Which it's worth dressing up for, of course. So that's kind of where we are, right? So now it's time to address where we're going. And I kind of said, welcome to the new reality. So here's the deal, all right? You and I, in so many ways, are not normal. Okay, so what I mean by that, hang on. What I mean by that is that you and I are marketing people, right? Like our business is the internet. So we're seeing ads for marketing stuff constantly. We're constantly online. We're constantly refreshing stats. All the stuff that we do every day, all day. The rest of the world doesn't really do that. They don't live on the internet like we do. We take online shopping as a given, right? So for us, it's like, yeah, of course, just go buy it on Amazon or whatever, or look it up on Google, or figure it out, on your phone. And like, we do things that the rest of the world, they really just don't do because they're not obsessively on the internet all the time. There are millions of consumers that have, over the past few weeks gone from not really doing a lot of shopping online to now, oh, I'm going to start buying things on the internet, right? So most folks aren't like us. Most consumers just kind of use the internet to check the news and everything, and maybe they'll go to Amazon, but they're not really living it the way you and I do. Up until the last few weeks, millions of people, think about this. Up until the last few weeks, millions of people had no idea that Zoom even existed. They didn't have this concept of a webinar. They were like, what, huh? But now millions of people are using it all the time, right? And so it's becoming a new reality to them. Even things like retail stuff is going digital. And this is a pretty big indicator, by the way. So I found this in an article. I think this was Forbes, but I can't remember. I should have put the source down. I apologize. Bars are closed. People are buying liquor online, right? Which, I mean, if you want to get some liquor, what are you going to do? You can't go to the bar. But this is very interesting because typically that's not a purchase that people would make online. But due to the new current reality, people are buying liquor online. All right. And then if you take that into consideration, it's simple to see and draw a conclusion that this current situation we're in is going to go away eventually, thank God, right? Like, it's not a good deal. I would rather go back a month and have ad costs be like they were than have a global pandemic. And this pandemic is going to go away. But consumer behavior, I think, is going to have a long-term change. And here's one indicator. And granted, this is anecdotal, but this is one indicator. This is from New York Times. It's from an article. And it's about this dude. And so I have to look at the other monitor so I can actually read the slide. Guy named Michael Crow, Charlotte, North Carolina, regular dude, works at Lowe's. So not one of us, not an internet dork like we are, regular guy working at Lowe's. He says he ordered groceries from Amazon for the first time a few days ago because he didn't want to risk going to a supermarket where he would immediately get the virus and, that would be the end, right? And so he orders the groceries and stuff from Amazon. And now he's saying, hey, I could see myself doing this longer term when this is over. And that's an important thing to realize, that folks who never really did internet stuff before, they didn't buy their groceries on Amazon, they didn't go and like just buy things, even non-essential things on the internet. Now they're doing it. And what's probably going to happen, because as you as I both know, buying stuff on the internet is really freaking convenient and easy and awesome, they're probably going to keep on doing it. I took this picture this morning. This is my daughter, Katya. She was on a Zoom call doing school stuff. Well, doing school stuff about as well as a bunch of 5-year-olds can be, doing school stuff together on Zoom, but at least they were trying, right? The teacher had never used Zoom before. The parents, many of whom they've never even heard of Zoom before, they've never done video conferencing before, but now they're all exposed to this. So what's going to happen? Well, here is my prediction, right? This is our time. Right now, this is our time to stake our claim in the markets of our choosing. I'm not saying it's our time to exploit a bad situation, but a huge majority of the Earth's population is starting to do the stuff we do every day, which is to live and conduct business online. And they're probably going to keep doing that. Right now, more people are doing and will continue to do more business online than ever before. Can I prove that? No, that's conjecture on my part, but I think you and I can agree. Everyone's stuck at home. They're looking at social media constantly. They're consuming content and they're like, wow, I kind of like this content. It never occurred to me you could buy a course about stuff. So more people are going to buy content than ever before. And many of them are going to continue to keep doing this long after all of this mess is done with. And, Lord willing, it'll be done with soon, hopefully sooner rather than later, because I would like to make the point once again that I don't think it's a good deal. If I had my preference, I would say no pandemic and let's just go back to the way things were, because we already had it pretty damn good, but now this really is our time. So I don't know why I've got the same slide twice there. Here's the fact of the matter, right? You and I sell stuff on the internet. Probably, I'm assuming you do. Why else would you be watching my stuff? It can't be my looks, So you and I, we sell stuff on the internet. Everybody's market is stuck at home on the internet and they're buying stuff now more than ever. And they're probably going to keep buying stuff long after this is over, because once you start buying things online, you just realize it's freaking easier. Like, I don't know about you, but probably a pretty good bit of folks who are watching never really did the Uber Eats thing until now. And now you're like, dude, this is amazing. These guys will bring food from all over the place and I don't have to cook or do anything. What do you think? You're just going to go back to slaving away in the kitchen after all of this mess is over? No, you're probably going to still keep on using things like Uber Eats, right? So look, they're going to continue buying stuff that might as well be from you, right? So here's how I can help you take advantage of the opportunity. All right, so starting April 6th, this is either going to work incredibly well or be horribly embarrassing. I'm going to be building a new business, attempting to be building a new business, at least starting from scratch. And what that means is I will not use my own personal brand. I won't be able to use my list. Those are the rules. Can't have any help from friends, not that I do the whole joint venture thing anyway. And I can't sell to a marketing related niche. All right, so I'm going to go into a niche where nobody knows me. I have no list, and it has nothing to do with my area of expertise. And if you would like to watch me do this, I'm going to be doing it live starting April 6th. You can follow along at letsgetsomesales.com if you want to. If someone would again type that URL in the comments for me, I would appreciate it. Letsgetsomesales.com. So what are we going to do? Well, first thing I'm going to be doing is I'll walk you through how to build a brand using intent-based branding 3.0, which I've never taught before. Now, intent-based branding, I've always sold this for $2,991 as an online training. So I'm including the 3.0 version of this training in this experience, again, at letsgetsomesales.com. So that's the first thing. Simultaneously, I'm going to be building a list, just using everything that I've been learning over the past 20 years of doing business online. And then hopefully I'm going to sell some stuff. I might fall on my face. You never know. Again, I already have kind of made pretty much the decision of what the niche is that I'll be selling to. And it is comical. It's a niche I have absolutely no business communicating with whatsoever. But hey, if you're going to do it, you're going to have a challenge. You might as well have a pretty good challenge, you know? So what's going to happen is if you participate in this, which is like ridiculously inexpensive, by the way, I'm going to send you a video update every day with here's what I did, and then some instructions of here's how you can model what I did and follow along. So it's really simple, chunked down stuff. Every week for 30 days, I'm going to have a live video conference going over, okay, here's what happened with me this week. What happened with you? What do you need help with? What can we fix? What can we improve? This is really a no-brainer to participate in. So go to letsgetsomesales.com and let's prepare, you know, let's take advantage of the opportunity that is unfolding before us. And let's do it in a way that's beneficial to all markets. Let's do it in a way that helps people regardless of whether or not they become a customer for you. Okay, so first day with the new Mac, by the way, which is why I got my screens confused. Let's see if I can get out of this view and then answer some questions from y'all. So I don't know if that ever, like, I wonder if you were ever even able to see the screen. Who knows, right? But I'm going to hang out with the little missus for a little while and take my dog out and feed him. But if you've got any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them for you. I do see a lot of y'all very politely entering Let's Get Some Sales into the chat box. So thank you very much. And it looks like, oh man, I bet there's a super long delay here because I'm just seeing people are still, this is classic, still just entering Let's Get Some Sales into the chat box, which I appreciate. Ryan Moody says, you're not going into the hand sanitizer niche, are you? And I'm not. There are two that I'm considering. I might go into two simultaneously, and both of them I'm totally unknown, zero brand recognition, really zero expertise of any kind at all. So we'll see. You know, I mean, this isn't one of those things like, if I had no money and everything was dead, what would I do? You know, I mean, this is like, I'm going to just really try to use everything I've known to go in and really hit it hard. Let's see here. So Rishi Raj says, any advice for luxury branding? It depends on what you mean by luxury branding. If you're in the business of providing branding services for luxury companies, then I think then you're in a good spot because usually luxury companies, if they're successful, they become complacent. So anyone helping businesses right now in the consulting world or done for you world, you're probably going to be flooded with a significant amount of opportunity because when recessions hit, first of all, they are optional. I have chosen not to participate, by the way. I have chosen to opt out of every recession I've ever seen in the 20 years of doing business, and I have never regretted that decision. So I've been through a lot of them. I've been through the dot-com bubble of 1999, the time when the economy went completely crazy during that one election where there was the hanging Chad thing. Y'all remember that? And then there was 9/11. That was a bummer. And then there was the housing crash thingy of 2008. And so I've just elected not to participate in any of those. But what I have noticed during all of those downtimes, that businesses that were doing incredibly well or even moderately well, it's real easy to get complacent. And when the economy gets funky, those businesses will turn to skilled and qualified consultants and companies to help them because they're no longer complacent. You know, they're like, oh, we need to do something. So if you're in luxury branding right now, you need to be building a lot of goodwill in your market and I hate to say getting your name out there because there's a much more structured way to do it than just getting your name out there, but positioning yourself as the go-to person to get help from. Righty-ho. Okay, so Seb says we'll get access to your IBB 3.0 plus your 30-day challenge. Yeah, you'll watch me deploy it during this 30-day thing. So for anyone who doesn't know what intent-based branding is, it is the entire methodology that I use to not only build a brand, but build will in that brand, build something called an invisible list, and then get customers from it. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. Thank you very much for your kind words, Rusty Chavez. All right. Daniela Ion, I think, says, so during this time, do you still see coaching and online programs as positive? I do, with a couple of assumptions. And those assumptions are that they are good and beneficial and stuff that people want. So I really have to tread carefully here because I don't want anything I'm saying to be taken out of context. So I'm not advocating that like people go into the get rich quick business or take advantage of a bad situation or anything like that. However, I am advocating that, number one, businesses who were complacent are going to want help. And if you can actually help them and can demonstrably get them measurable results, then I think the world is your oyster. I also think, to answer the questions as coaching and online programs as just a general blanket niche, such as life coaching, any sort of coaching that is not business related, I think that there will be an increased demand for that because people are discovering content, A, and they're buying content, B, and they're probably going to continue it. As a classic example of this, we get IVs, shots in the arm every Monday as preventative measures to try to keep our immune systems up. So a nurse comes to the house and they shoot us up with stuff that looks like watered down strawberry Kool-Aid. For all I know, it actually is watered down strawberry Kool-Aid, but you know what? We're pretty healthy, so it must be working. So the nurse, I would put her in her mid-20s, recently, along with her twin sister, went online and created a sales process to sell a coaching for people that suffered from a combination of hypertension, high blood pressure, as it was related to anxiety. So really narrow niche, but apparently like a really, really big deal. All right. And they ran some ads to a webinar funnel and they got a $4,000 client, and then they immediately stopped doing it. Probably because they're unbelievably busy taking care of folks like us and giving everybody IVs. Point being, now I'm not saying like, everybody go out and sell $4,000 health things. I'm just telling you anecdotally what I heard firsthand from the person who did it. And they said they closed the very first person they talked to, and then they didn't take anybody else because they take it very seriously. And I think it's a lot of work for them. But yes, I do think that courses are going to see a spike. And if we were to do some research, it'll probably take another 2 or 3 weeks to get accurate data. In the e-learning sector, I bet the e-learning sector, which is fancy talk for courses and coaching and stuff, I bet the e-learning sector, which is already a ridiculous business, is probably seeing this type of growth right now. So let's see. Where did I? Dang it. I missed somebody. Well, I missed a lot of people, but I was like in order. And now I messed up. Let's see. Where did we go? I missed somebody. Oh, let's see. Okay, there we go. Weldon. Sorry, y'all. I got out of order here on my comments. Okay, so my man Weldon Whitehurst. What an awesome name. It sounds like a very sophisticated name, like you could be a financial planner or something that sells things to very wealthy people. Weldon Whitehurst on line 1. Oh, yes, I'll be right there. He says, do you already need a product to sell? Well, we can't sell anything without a product. So yes, you need at least an idea. So the very first phase of what we do in this 30-day thing is we validate the idea, right? So I'm not really for this, hey, let's just pull something out of the air and sell it and anybody can sell anything online. I don't believe that. So I like to do market research and see what is selling and see who's selling it and see what's working before we ever go and try to do all of that kind of stuff. So there are two things that one could conceivably sell like right now. Number one, information, obviously, because it can be created inexpensively. I mean, you need, things like ScreenFlow or your iPhone that you can record stuff on and something you can type things in, and you can actually make information that is potentially sellable, assuming it's information people already want. The second thing is stuff, physically produced stuff, which you could do for drop shipping or ship from your own home or whatever. So we're going to be discussing both of those in this upcoming 30-day thing. I do want to say that not all products are sellable. Not all information products are sellable. It is entirely possible that people following along with me will fail. Most businesses fail. I might fail during this thing. So I don't know, long answer, but I'm trying to avoid being one of those pecker-headed people that are like, you don't need nothing. You can make money on the internet anytime. Like, that's just, I don't believe that to be fundamentally true. Like, it's hard, Let's see. Pavel says, what is the price? It will surprise you. Go to letsgetsomesales.com and you'll see it's cheap. Oh, look. And then Seb answered it, $100. Dude, I was trying to surprise everybody and have them be like, dude, all right, sweet. Okay, let's see here. Matt Ride says, just signed up. Very excited. Will you show a framework on coming up with content ideas for Facebook Lives? Yes, I will. Safe said, how would this work for a print shop? Well, dude, right now, if you're a print shop in the continental United States, where most people want a stay-at-home order, you're going to need to do everything digitally. And assuming you have a sales process to turn a person who wants printing services into a customer without them having to physically come into your store, the process would look like this. We would put content in front of them in the form of ads that say, hey, if you still need things printed and mailed to people, we can do it for you. Here's how it works. Here's what to do next. And then we would drive them into that sales process, which, depending on your current sales process, could range anywhere from fill out this form and we'll call you with a quote, or actually place the order online. One thing that I'm really, really big on is don't use the internet to replace an existing sales process unless you absolutely have to. Use the internet to fuel an existing sales process, which doesn't necessarily answer the question completely, but that's just because I don't really know what your sales process. Let's see. Which sectors do you believe will be booming after COVID-19? Essentially everything that is already selling digitally, I think will be booming. I think that luxury stuff might take a hit, maybe some. But if the luxury retailers or luxury providers are smart, they will realize that, they will realize that there is no such thing as the economy per se. What happens during any sort of economic movement is Group A used to have a bunch of money, and now Group B has a bunch of money. And so if retailers that are hurt, such as luxury, take that into consideration and focus their advertising efforts to Group B, then they'll probably be okay. I think automotive is probably going to be hit for a little while. I think housing might be hit for a little while, depending on what happens with jobs, But what I do believe very firmly, and what I have seen over the past 20 years after having witnessed several, pretty gnarly economic cycles, is there are three markets that are pretty much indestructible. Market number one is a market that has to do with finance, specifically make more money. Now, you got two categories of that. One of them I don't like to mess with. The other one I think is great. The one I don't like to mess with is the business opportunity get rich quick world. Not a big fan. The part of that I do like is, if you have a business, here's how to make that business even better. I think that is an indestructible market. The second one is health and beauty, right? So people are always going to be concerned with their health, physical well-being, and they're always going to want to look better. And the third one is love and relationships. So I think anything in those three markets, as a general rule, of course I'm generalizing, but generally speaking, anything in those three markets, indestructible markets, right? Okay, let's see. Pavel says, signing up, will you have a recording of the whole thing? Yes, sir. I will. Email recipient says, how would you drive traffic to a ClickBank offer? Same way you would drive traffic to any offer. Let's see here. Pear says, would it be good for imitation jewelry? I don't know. If people have always bought imitation jewelry, they're probably still buying it. I can tell you, and I got to maintain a pretty high degree of confidentiality. I was going through my Facebook ads manager, and because I've run campaigns for so many people, I can log in and I can see in Business Manager like all of these accounts. And I can also see the return on ad spend for the accounts that have it set up. There's one client that sells real fancy jewelry, like, you know, diamonds and things like that. And they were, last I looked, which was last week, so I haven't looked at this since last week. Last week, for every dollar they put in, they were getting $5 back. And this is an e-commerce website selling very expensive actual freaking jewelry and stuff. And that's all I could say about it, because I don't want to violate any confidentiality. So my assumption would be that imitation jewelry is likely to sell, assuming people want it. And so that's something that's really, really critical. And we'll cover this in the very beginning of our work together, starting April 6th, which is not a good idea to try to sell stuff that doesn't already sell. If we can't validate that people are already buying it and that they already want it, not something I would recommend messing with. You know, so it's the notion that's popularized by the get rich quick on the internet folks, which is you can sell anything. I have like really fundamentally disagree with it. I think conceptually it's humanly possible to sell anything, but I wouldn't really want to take a gamble of time and money unless I had really concrete evidence that people already want the thing I'm thinking about selling and they're already currently buying it from other people. And I'm of the belief that a very competitive market is great, right? I'm not one of these folks, well, let's go in the market where there's nobody else. Like, no, I think like the best thing is to go into a market where people are buying a lot of stuff and the marketing in that market isn't particularly good. So that's what I'm going to help you guys look for, those types of plays. And I'm also going to help you validate the ideas you currently have just using hard data, you know, because my opinion is worthless. Data is the only thing that matters, and that's what I'll show you how to get. Okay, let's see here. Mohammed says, what exactly will you be doing? Can you tell us the process? How many days will the program be? It's 30 days. All right, so it's a 30-day program, and I will start with market validation, make sure that the idea is solid. Then we will go into exactly what to sell, and I'll show you, okay, I'm going to figure out what to sell. And then we'll go into sales process, which is, all right, what's the best way to actually sell this? Got to have those three things in place before you ever start thinking about traffic and all of that kind of stuff. So once we got those, then it is, how do we establish the brand? How do we bring in traffic and build a list? And how do we get customers? And so that's the process that I'll be doing over the course of 30 days and really chunking it down. You know, so I'm starting like there's no domain set up yet. You know, I got an idea. It's all I can say about it at this stage. And you're just going to be watching me chunk it down every single day for 30 days, the wins and the losses. So some days you're going to see me fall on my face. Probably going to see me fall on my face a lot of days, you know, and you're going to get a real firsthand look at what it's really like to build this stuff. And so if you go to letsgetsomesales.com, you'll see in the requirements, one of them is mental toughness and the other one is commitment. And you see it right there on the page, like, hey, this stuff ain't as easy as they make it sound, you know, and you got to stick with it. And so you'll see me put to the test as I inevitably, unless I get freakishly lucky or something, as I inevitably run across challenges and things don't work and I got to pivot and tweak and all that kind of stuff. So you'll see the whole thing. Let's see. IIXX Cheesy Microbe, probably their real name, you know, says, what niche do you recommend? Anything in the big three is pretty much indestructible, like I was talking about earlier. That is, of course, a glaring generalization. You know, but that's pretty much what I recommend. Pavel says, will you be recording it in case I miss some lessons? Yes, I will. So I don't broadcast the videos live. So I just show you what I did that day, and then I send you the video in an email. And it says it all on the website, so there's a little better detail, although it's a pretty Spartan website. Says it all there, you know. But I'll send out the email and then some instructions. All right, here's what I did. Here's what you need to do as well. And just every single day. And we also have a private Facebook group where I'll be posting that stuff to keep it all nice and organized as well. Okay. Terry says, is this the best time in the world to be an internet marketer? Yes, I think so. I'm going to define internet marketer, by the way, as someone who uses the internet as a medium to sell stuff. You know, so yes, I think it is. I think ad costs are down. I want to say ad costs is down, which is South Georgia grammar right there. Ad costs are down. More people are looking at the internet right now. And so in some verticals, no, but generally speaking, yes. All right, let's see here. This dude says, am I doing the barbecue grill website? No, I'm not. Maybe I should though. Maybe you know something I don't. Okay. All right, that's it. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go and take the dog out. Good Lord, it's 9:14. I got to get out of here. It's late. Been working all day. I'm surprised it even makes sense still. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that regardless of whether or not you do the Let's Get Some Sales thing, that you have seen a bit of a silver lining from the statistics and research that I shared with you. If you've got a business and you sell things on the internet, this is really not the time to be sitting around just messing around. This is the time to really be hitting it hard. Sow the seeds of goodwill using intent-based branding, make a lot of offers, build your brand, build your invisible list, get to work. Everybody's online right now. Again, generalizing. Ad costs are down. People are buying stuff. You can establish market dominance and market leadership right now if you just take advantage of the opportunity. Heart and prayers go out to anybody affected by this. You know, it sucks that people have lost their job. It sucks that people are physically suffering and that they're sick. This is not a good deal. I've said it repeatedly and I'll say it again. All of this silver lining stuff, I would throw away in a millisecond if this whole crap would just go away and everybody would be healthy and everyone had their jobs back and life was back to normal. So again, this isn't meant to sound opportunistic or anything. However, I would be doing you a terrible disservice if I didn't point out the facts, which are ad costs down. People were buying stuff on the internet. After this is over, they're probably going to buy more stuff than they used to on the internet. They might as well buy it from you. So I'll end on that note. I hope you guys have a great evening. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Take it easy.